wonderful guests who are going to introduce themselves, and I want you all to be ready with your pen, with your pencil or your books to make some notes, because we're going to talk about a lot of interesting things. And also, you feel free to call us on 0116 482 2086. And you can WhatsApp us also, because some of you are very, very shy. You don't like to pick the phone up. You can WhatsApp us because it's free. 077 488 Now, here's a question for all our listeners right now. You got to call in. You got to send us a message. How many people, what's the population of the city? Now, without going to Google, try to tell us how many inhabitants we have in the city of Leicester, not the county. A lot of you make that mistake every time when I ask that question, because you rush to Google and you give me the wrong answer. So it's the city. And then after that, I want you to tell me how many diversities we have in the city. Well, I'm going to put this question straight over to my guest to my left, and he's going to introduce himself.
Good evening, listeners. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Yakub Ismail. I am the police commander for East Leicester. So if you're looking on a map geographically, I look after Highfield, St. Matthews, Belgrave, Rushmead, Hamilton, Thurmby Lodge, Netherhall, and all the way around into Evington. I'm really, really happy to be here on the talk show today. Thank you, Zed and Radio Ramadan, for inviting me.
Well, that's almost half of Leicester. That's half of the city. And to my right here, I have my wonderful friend here. He's been in the council all his life, I think, since 1924.
Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal and Namaste. Piara Singh, Clair's Deputy City Mayor, as Sheikh has said, I came to politics in 1991, over 33 years now. So I'm working for City Council from last many years.
That is absolutely a long time. And to think that we were in the country in the 70s, right? So when you said he's been working in the City Council since 92?
91.
91. And then prior to that, when we both arrived in the same era in the 70s to the country. So we have a good handle on the city.
Absolutely.
For a long time. We've seen many things come and go. We've seen many changes, experienced many changes, and we've seen our industrial complex in the city fall apart, well, disintegrate or close down, or whichever way you want to call it. But every 10 years, we've seen rapid changes in the city.
Absolutely. As I arrived in this country, this is the only city I came, and I adopted this city my home, and I adopted this country for my children, for the future. So this is where I have seen most of integration, like you said, many changes every decade, and this is really a wonderful story we can share with each other.
Of course, this week is EDI week, right? So all of you listening in right now, you know what EDI is all about. Of course, one listener, he said to me, he said, actually, it should be I before the E. Now, Brother Yakub, what do you think he means by that?
The I agree, is about inclusion. It's about making sure that nobody's left out, nobody's left behind. So before we get to equality, before we get to the level playing field, before we get to taking care of one another, we need to make sure no one is left out. So inclusion is a huge part. So I'd agree with your listener, inclusion before equality.
Of course, now I get very, very excited when the listener is young.
Okay.
Because that's what I want to see. I want to see young people to be participating in our daily political sectors, into our judiciaries, into all sectors, especially into our public life, so that we can all work together to improve our communities. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. As when I become councillor, there was hardly any awareness among our community that politics is something we can aspire to. And then at the same time, when I came and my grandparents came, there was only one motive: to earn money, support back in India or Pakistan, Bangladesh, our families, and it is a short journey for us in this country, we will go back. But now the time has changed. We have settled in this country, in this city. This is where our future of the children is. That inclusion is really first of the priority. We need to think how we become part and parcel of the community and total fabric of the society.
Of course, now he's said two key words there. One is children. I'm going to add to that by saying great grandchildren. And then the second key word he said was money. These are all connected, right? Because without the big M, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Money makes the mayor go, but obviously that is one of the priority, but not always should be the money priority. It is our community, it is our diversity, it is the equality where we need to integrate and probably value each other's culture and religious.
Now, of course, these are all the key words that we all talk about. We talk about them across the dinner table, in our communities, with our friends, with our politicians. But what I'd like to see here is I want some active actions here. So I'm only going to, you both are going to judge me for my good actions, right? Not from the words that I speak. So all of us are under that pressure all the time, aren't we?
Absolutely.
That people expect so much, and if we don't deliver, then the pressure is on.
Absolutely.
As they say, you can't please everybody all of the time. So if the work that you are doing, Brother Yakub, you are going to one area and the other area is of different denomination. And you get different comments from there, you get different comments from here. So you come back home and you've been to 5 areas in one day and you got 5 different comments. And you got a lot of psychology there, haven't you?
Yeah. And that's why inclusion comes first. We have to make sure we do not leave any voice out of, our thinking, our strategies, our way forward. And, you talked about different areas. We need to make sure that we are inclusively engaging all communities, especially the young people. The days of conversations outside the library or community centers or religious places are soon becoming, places of the past. The future conversations are taking place in virtual spaces. We need to be engaging in the Facebook spaces, in the Twitter, in the Instagram or InstaChat or Snapchat. That way we ensure that we are holistically capturing those outside religious places, those outside the library, but also those young voices, which is really, really crucial to shaping our future thinking.
So, Councillor Piara, what we have seen that we all collectively have to promote the positive. What happens is that if we do 9 good positive initiatives and we only do 1 bad one, everybody suffers from it.
Absolutely.
Right?
No. Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't want there to be an us and them situation. If we are living in, how many diversities we have now in the city?
Too many to mention.
Let's take a guess. Let's all have a go.
Yeah.
Yeah? So how many? Give us top of your head.
Is that where your Google will come in?
No, the Google, somebody's already sent an answer here on the text. So
give us a start. What's the number you've got?
Well, one caller here has just sent a message here that we have 50 diversities in the city. Well, he's pretty accurate with that, but 50, I would play it safe and say over 50.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I'd agree with you, over 50.
What do you say?
No, absolutely. Now, if we see that now how many different nations has settled in the city, they are over 50. And then one of the beauty we have, exceptionally, Leicester is very different from many other cities, not only in the region or in our country, but Europe-wise. What the good work we have done through our Council of Faith, where all community, different aspect of different community leaders come under one umbrella and they talk with each other and they really work with each other. That is one of the beauty of Leicester alone. We are the one of the diversity outside now England, even in Europe. So this is something which we have experienced, which we have actually nurtured over many years. It has not happened overnight. This is the hard work of our community leaders, all those partners from different aspects, even our police, fire authority and others. This is the coordination of different aspect of our partnership. I think that is something we need to look back and really enjoy and cherish that what Leicester makes. There are over nearly 70, 80 different languages are spoken. It's even over 100 languages, because if we just see from India or Pakistan, how many different states people come and settle in Leicester, and each state from India and in many parts of Pakistan, we all speak different languages. So this is one of the beauty. Like roads like Belgrave, Nabro Road, even you can see Wington Road. What a diverse businesses establishment. That is something we need to really look back, but this is not enough. We need to move on. We need to do some more work. And it is the young people, young generation we need to bring along, work with them. That is the generation future for us.
So we talked about that this morning, about the Council of Faiths, and one young person said, look, faith is not as strong as it should be or it used to be. So faith, certainly in some diversities, is practically at 5% practicing. And then in some diversities, it is at a higher figure, right? So this is faith, spirituality, and of course, throughout the month, what we are talking about here is the 3 Ds. Are you familiar with them? No?
No.
You better get your pen and paper ready and write this down. Okay. What about you? Are you ready with them? The 3 Ds?
Diversity?
Well, you could say that, but let me tell you.
Go on.
Number 1 is discipline. Number 2 is devotion, dedication. Number 3 is detoxification. In the month of Ramadan, what we have to do is go through our spiritual detoxification, our physical detoxification, right? And all our mental detoxification. It's an opportunity for us to charge that battery, right? Replenish, recharge. And in this month, we have to take that opportunity to do that so that we can be better for it. Not only for the next month coming, but for the whole year, and continue to be like that. And this is what the theme is that we are encouraging, we are discussing with all our listeners, that this is a time to reflect. It's a calm time. The shaitan, as they say, as we all know, is on holiday.
Okay.
After Ramadan, he comes back.
Yeah.
So, very, very important that we all follow that. And it is not there for one faith, it's for all faiths. The discipline, the devotion, and the detoxification is a benefit to all of us.
And that's why for us as authorities, it's really important for us to have a close, intimate working relationship with all the faiths, because we understand the crucial roles faiths play in society, in supporting vulnerable, in supporting families, in providing guidance and general support. In some communities, the faith centers are the hubs of their communities. Therefore, it is really important, especially for the police and the authorities, that we have this working relationship with faith, so that we can understand what matters to them. We can engage better with their communities and congregation. We can work with them in a smarter way to prevent young people from engaging in activity that they shouldn't engage in. So for us, it's really crucial that we engage with all faiths.
So now we're talking about the issues of diversity, that we are in the new age now, in the new ways. So there's a list of the old ways. So in a workplace environment, the old ways was a biased structure of upper management throughout the country, throughout the world. The new ways is a diverse team. This is a reflection of our society, our community, that every company you go to, way back in the 70s, where were all the Asians working at Walker's Crisps?
I know.
On the factory floor.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. There was nobody in the management. People were working either packaging or machine cleaners or probably machine operators. But that has to be now changed. Even in city council staff, this is our pledge and commitment to have diversity inclusion at all level, not at the level of managers, but at the level of the directors. Similarly, Yakub will speak itself. Probably there are really diverse nature and recruitment in police services and also in many other armed forces. This is where we need to do. I remember that now there was only few factories where our people worked. One is biscuit factory, Nabisco, where our ladies were usually worked, and Walker Graves. And then there was another factory which somewhere near in Canal Street, there was that's right.
Yeah.
So that was pie factory. So
The
this
pie
is
factory, yeah.
pie factory. But now I think
there were so many more. The names are coming to my head now. The Imperial typewriter. Yeah, on East Park Road.
Park Road.
You know where that is?
Yeah.
And that was a worldwide iconic typewriter factory.
Yeah.
And the Asians came there and kept it alive for, I think, 5 more years.
Yeah.
Then it closed down. But it is part of the history of Leicester, isn't it?
That's the example now. The way in which at that time union took issue on board that there was not equality, there was not union representation, there was no workers' rights. So this is where that strike broke through, and Imperial Right has to close. So this is where now even we worked so hard as Indian and Pakistani and Bangladeshi people in worker groups want to get the union recognized, and then to have a proper sort of analysis what our wage structure should be, what our terms and condition of employment should be. So this is not something you can actually expect to be delivered on your plate. This is something you need to fight for your rights, and this is what we have done and achieved. But now I think we are in a different era, different area where we need to move on and work in a different direction.
So it's almost now, let's say he's talking about period from 72 onwards to 50 years later. So is it enough? Have we done enough, or can we do more?
We can always do more. And just to build on the topic the Deputy Mayor was making, we at Leicestershire Police want to be. It's our. You've got the different associations that are made up of staff and officers from those communities. So we have what's called courageous conversations. These are no holds barred conversations chaired at a very high level by our then Deputy Chief Constable Rob Nixon to understand, from these staff associations, what are their expectations, what are the barriers to progression, how can we make things better. But beyond that, we go into the communities to understand that. So we are having those conversations. We have a positive action strategy, to give those the support, those who need the support to progress, we give them that. But then we've got coaching, we've got mentoring, we've got outside support, to give the officers and staff that development.
We got a call coming in.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Zed. Richard speaking.
How are you? You good?
Really good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying your program.
I am very much enjoying your program.
Well, let's give you a little test. What are the names of the 2 guests I have here today in the listening in?
We've got Piara Singh and we've got Yakub Ismail. I hope there are prizes if I get it right.
I can feel some trouble coming my way.
Okay.
Right. Go on, Richard. What's your question?
So I was born kind of in the early 80s, so a lot of what you guys were saying was based on the early 70s. But from a generational perspective, you've got to notice, in my personal opinion, that certain areas are built up and made up of certain demographics. And the gentleman alluded to, the community faith groups tend to work very well in certain areas. And there is inclusion and there is, mixing within groups. But certain areas are predominantly single demographics, like they're using St. Matthews and the Belgrave area and the New Parks area and Braunston as general examples. Would you say they work better as they are, or should they be slightly better integrated? Because I think there's no right or wrong answer, but I just wanted to get your opinion on whether there could be better integration in such areas.
Okay, this question is for you first, Piara.
No, absolutely not. As I said, we have done so much, but it is never enough. We need to learn. We need to actually work with our experience. And this is something I really value, the question that if we can actually have those dialogues, where those areas where we need to have improvement. Like now, Beaumont Lees, as I said, it was an area one time, Brownston, no-go area. Now you see how much and how area had changed. There are different people, there are different aspects of integration, and so as Beaumont Lees. But it is not enough. Like I said, we need to learn, we need to move on, and we need to make changes, and we need to inspire for changes, and we always look forward to that.
What do you say about that, Yakub?
Well, Richard, importantly, and you saw this over the COVID period, being, a one demographic, geographical area, wasn't a negative in the sense. We saw communities across religions, across faiths, across non-faiths, crossing those geographical lines, crossing those community barriers to take care of one another. And we saw many examples of, interfaith support for one another, inter-agency support for one another. We saw communities reaching out. So, we could always do more to encourage, diversity within communities, diversity within geographical areas. But the fact that, we are where we are hasn't been a negative in our difficult times. The recent examples have shown that coming together across community lines. I hope that answers your question, Richard.
Richard,
very well.
Thank you very much for that. I trust that you are also working hard in the community and doing lots of things to make a difference.
We all try and do as much as we can. I also had a follow-up question, if that's okay.
You got to be quick
because something that you're going to probably sit on later. But
I'll tell you what.
Mentioned
Mr. Piara, before he asks his follow-up question, I think we can give him a brew voucher.
Blue voucher.
Voucher, yeah. See the voucher there. We give him one, and he can go and spend that, because we have a rule here that whoever rings first, we give him a voucher.
I can go one better than that.
Yes.
How about he registers on something called Neighborhood Link? So, Richard, when you get the chance, Google Neighborhood Link, put your details in there. What that gives you is a platform to engage directly with your local police. Because if you think about how we identify our priorities, how we identify what matters to communities, in the absence of communities telling us, we go to the data. The data will take us to certain crimes or activities. But that might not be so important to you. So a gift to you and all the listeners, register on Neighborhood Link so you can share with us what matters to you. And for you, it might be a parking issue. It might be dog fouling. It might be antisocial behavior. For somebody, it might be something else. But the more of these I get in, we can identify themes, we can identify locations. And then guess what? You've put the onus on me to deliver, in response to that. So there's your gift for you.
Of course, that is a wonderful idea. Be sure to do that, Richard. And your question was?
Second one, so Zed, we've spoken over the last few days, and you've mentioned sport and how sport can lead to better integration within communities, because people have common interests such as football, cricket, basketball. Could we be doing more as a city to incorporate sport into inclusivity across different cultures and different demographics?
This one is for our Deputy Mayor.
No, absolutely no. This is something, if I take myself back, when we arrived here in this country, in this city, our main motto was to earn money, and now that's it, to engage our children in our businesses and ask them to work hard. But now the time has changed. We need to actually engage our children in sporting activities. We have really 3 very thriving clubs. One, Leicester City Football Club, Riders, and even our basketball club. Then even ladies football, and we have network of our sports grounds all over the city, and we have cricket network and infrastructure where we need to engage our young people, where we need to work with that. And I wish one day one of our child would be playing for Leicester City Football Club and Premium League. That would be my dream. And let's work together, and we need to actually encourage our children to come out, take part in sporting activities, and move forward.
Of course. Thank you very much, Richard, for that.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah. Now, going on from what Richard has put on the table here, and we are talking about now the sports and recreation, sports. We need the spaces for that. We need the green spaces to do the work that what Richard is talking about. So across the city, we have a lot of green spaces that can be better used. Now, we talking to many people, just a green space to have a football team or a cricket team is not 2022. We need to surround the spaces with amenities, right? So the amenities can be used for good community development initiatives. If there is even a nice smart office there where somebody is not got a job, can go there to get some training for the new digital skills that we need to empower our youngsters with. Because I've seen, and many guests who are coming here are telling me that, look, people don't have an incentive to work because they get money, their gas bill is paid, their housing rent is deducted, they don't pay council tax. So they don't have incentive to work. So we got to change that mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think we have a very good quality open space and parks in our city, like Victoria Park, Wington Park, Western Park. We have football pitches, we have our basketball pitches, tennis court pitches, and infrastructure is already there.
There is no infrastructure there. In the parks that you've just mentioned, there is no infrastructure there.
But obviously, you can see we have 32 open air gyms. We spent over £1 million to have those open air gyms for people for a free use.
I've seen it at Victoria Park.
We have good play area network, all in housing state and our open space and parks. From 2010, we have spent over £11 million for Football Foundation in partnership with Health and Leicester City Council. We have 5 Asian clubs have their own homes, like G&G, Nirvana, and which is now another one, Bharat Football Club, and Ethel Road Cricket Club for Caribbean Carnival, and that one football club in Rushmead, which is so much we have invested, but this is not enough. As I said, the cricket wicket are in many open space, like one in Spinney Hill, one in Rushy Field, one in Humberston Park, Abington Park, and many more. But we need to encourage the young people to take part in those sporting activities.
Okay, the problem is with the pitches you mentioned, the league rules don't allow a team to join the league. They have to be having a ground. And the ground criteria from the ECB is that there must be changing rooms there. They have a criteria and they have to be fenced off. So this is where we can work together to come around that problem, how we can deal with it, so that these park pitches where our teams have been allocated to play, then they have to have a pitch and a ground with those changing room facilities, which can then be extended to add the amenities on for community use.
Absolutely.
Right?
Now, I think you are absolutely right. We need to work with the ECB, with our cricket club, which is in Grace Road, and other than the football investment, those area I have mentioned. They
and
have
also,
pitches and changing room for football facility, but not enough for cricket.
Yeah, so for cricket in the inner city, where all our future talents going to come from, they don't have the structure there. First of all, they don't have any pitches. The one you're talking about on Ethel Road, when was the last time you visited there?
I've been to their open day last year. But
and did you see the quality of the shed there?
The shed.
With the asbestos roof, with the leaking water tank at the top. So that's been there 30 years.
Absolutely.
So that's why major commercial investment from businesses, some partnerships have to be developed to develop that. But the people who are in management, they also have got to share that vision. Sometimes is a problem. If they can't be bothered themselves, then how is a businessman going to join hands with them to help them? You see where I'm getting at?
Absolutely. We have worked with the Ethel Road Cricket Club organization to advise them if they could have a club mark and they would be able to bid for outside funding from Sport England and other organizations. But then that's something we still need to work with them, and they need to work with the local schools like Crown Hill and Madani School, so that children are involved. They need to change their management structure to involve young people. I'm not trying to be critical, but these are the things we need to actually work with them so that there are opportunity for funding from outside sources. This is an independent club. This is not city council.
Now we're moving ahead.
Yeah.
We're moving, making progress. We're talking about partnerships here now. Yeah. So as we are now working, I'm in work mode now. How about we do this? Is we arrange a little a foodie, and we sit down together. We get these commercial people on the table, and we thrash these ideas out.
Absolutely.
Right, and we make it happen.
Yeah.
How about that? You up for that?
Absolutely. Because
so all the listeners live, he's said yes, he's ready for it.
No, of course no. We have worked already with that cricket club, and we are happy to work with them. I can actually ask my sports department to actually work with them and advise them. If you so wish to arrange a meeting, I can assure you we can meet.
You and I will make it happen. Right, with your sports department, we can all sit together, get our commercial team. Yakub, you can join us as well, because I'm sure that you'll be able to put a shed there as well for developing the work that you are doing. Yes,
I'm just grateful for the the fantastic open spaces provided by the city council.
And my producer there, he'll attend there for the food.
Okay, but we try and use the open spaces as a place to engage with young people. We are looking.
If we make one. Let that be the model for the whole country to follow. Imagine, and then we can get the funding from commercial sector, from all the bodies necessary. And this is what I want. I want to propose a partnership that we all work together on. Now, that's just one initiative using recreation, our sports fraternity, to do our work that we are looking to do, to develop more CDOs. Are you familiar with that? CDO is a very important part of our community. It's a community development officer. I want all of you listening in right now to have that mindset to become a community development officer, because here what we're talking about is not for me, not for Yakub, not for our deputy mayor, but we are talking about your children and we are talking about your grandchildren, right? So we all have to input to get the right output out. If we don't input, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
We agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Partnership is a crucial part of that. Just talk about Spinney Hill Park, what it was about 6-7 years back. Now we applied for Heritage Lottery Fund. What improvement that park we can see now. Such a nice gym, which is one of the most used gym out of 32 gyms citywide. And we have really refurbished footpaths. We have purpose-built that highway side, which is football ground. And we have really nice garden. And we have helped and supported in partnership with the police and local community to have that police station from Aspobi Street right onto the corner of East Park Road, which is really worked so well. And I really congratulate police officer and police partnership in this. Now you can see how people feel so secure and safe when they come and use that.
Well, here's another one for you then. Yeah. He's mentioned Spinney Hill Park. Yeah. It's a park that we used to play at when we were little. Now, I'm looking forward to a vision where there's a state-of-the-art place where we enjoy with all the other members of the community when we are retired and we are having a coffee and we are having a cup of tea, a state-of-the-art one. Now, there's one behind the cafe. There's a cafe there now?
Of course.
Restaurant, the Time restaurant?
Even that,
right?
That pavilion was closed and derelict.
Very derelict.
This is the initiative we worked with local community, and that restaurant is really hub.
So we are talking now nature, a wooden structure with solar above it, right? And we have nice glass front. Can you imagine that? That all of you, you're going to say, let's go there to have a cup of tea. Why? Because it looks good, feels good. That's what we're going to do.
And
right?
it's environmentally friendly.
Environmentally friendly. And we are now heading to the future.
Yeah.
So you share that vision?
No.
Are you with me?
Not absolutely. There is some element which we need to consider. Some conservation, that area is in conservation.
When we are working with wood.
Yeah, absolutely. Any design has to be agreed through Conservation Society, Heritage Lottery Fund, and also with the Planning Department, Licensing Department.
Brilliant.
So if that meets the criteria, so be it.
That is a good point. I think that's where we have to start, right? Now, in my capacity, I shall talk to the best architects to come on board, to be partners with us here. And of course, I don't want them to charge us. Or they charge us little money. Because it's all these things what we are talking about are all community development initiatives. They are not commercial. There is no private investor who's going to invest and is going to make millions out of that. No, it's for our community.
Absolutely.
So you pick the parks, the areas, and we work together to make it happen. And we work hard at it, collectively. Yeah. If there's an army of us behind the project, God will make it happen.
So the High Sheriff of Leicester, Mahmouda Duke, one of her visions is, cohesion through sport. So what we're looking to do, and she's partnered us up with the Leicestershire County Cricket Club, we are looking to bring cricket into Spring Hill Park and Cossington Park. And what we have in mind is to invite teams of young people from different communities, different faiths or non-faiths to these parks so that we can build better relationships between these young people, to create friendships, to create networks, to encourage, that real community cohesion through, sports. So we are excited. The planning for that is currently ongoing. The Leicestershire County Cricket Club have come on board and they've agreed to support us with this fantastic initiative. So watch the space. Hopefully over the next month or during the summer, I should be able to tell you more about that.
Of course, we are now started the season, that's cricket, but would you believe that basketball is even bigger than cricket in Leicester as a sport? So here's some messages here, right? In a radius of 4 miles from Humberstone Road, London Road, Evington Road, there is not one piece of 3G or 4G surface. Yes? Yes, on Elston Road, in 1 mile radius, there is a 4 council-funded 3G or 4G pitches. And you have not invested in the inner city of Leicester, where predominantly Asians are living. So I don't know if that listener is talking about sports, whether we haven't invested in that, but which area is talking about?
Absolutely. We have made changes to that. There is a 1 3G pitch in Judge Meadow, which is part of football investment program. There is one now being announced for Nirvana Football Club, which is now in Hamilton. And there are some funding proposal for 5-a-side football pitches, possibly one in Spring Hill Park, which I need to check because now this is partnership with police and their funding. So probably if that funding package is being stacked up, then that would be another one. So obviously we are now making difference, and there are commitment given to Nirvana Football Club, 3G pitch. Their consultant.
Only thing is the Judge Meadow one is not open to the public.
That's what the Nirvana one would be the one which is we are inspiring to, and we are along with my councillors, we are working with the Nirvana Football Club. They are so pleased that this happened. So now their consultant is being engaged, and they will submit their report. And I hope soon that will be now within next maybe 6-7 or month, that will be another 3G pitch.
So we have covered quite an area now. We've got last 5 minutes left before we close. And going to ask you if you are familiar with the Once Upon a Time 50 years ago, both of you. Are you familiar with that?
Is this something to do with the
Uganda,
community?
Yeah. It's to do with the 1972 expulsion of the Ugandan Asians.
Okay.
And just to remind all our listeners, there's some excellent plays happening there at the Curve Theatre. So do buy a ticket and we can go there, right? So another message up there is the caller is asking about inner city of Leicester, not Judge Meadow or Hamilton. Highfields is Spin Hill Park is what I'm asking about. We have nothing. So you see, we need deeper conversations on that with the community. So I think we'll definitely engage together, and when we do that, we should cover the whole city, not only a specific part of one city, because if we are talking about cohesion, do we have cohesion and integration? We are coexisting, aren't we? But do we have integration?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is the key factor now. One is equality, diversity, and inclusion. And now this is one of the themes we have.
Are we integrating in the community? We are all coexisting, but are we integrating?
No, there are some gaps. We need to work on those. Probably you never be. It is not fully now perfect, but if we have will to make it happen, if we have determination,
we can make
do it. We can do it.
Of course. What do you have to say on that?
What I notice is we do have harmony, irrespective of the perspectives on it. What I notice across Leicester, especially in the city, and Leicestershire and Rutland, is you see harmony between communities. Where incidents have taken place or where there has been a dispute, you find that the communities do come together. Whether it's young people, whether it's old people, they're comfortable and they have that trust and that relationships where you're seeing, beyond cohesion, what you're seeing is harmony across the communities.
So we have harmony across the communities, but we need to work at the integration. So here somebody said, this last message I want to read before we close up is, Salams, I live on East Park Road. You mentioned a lot has been done. Spinney Hill Park, yes, it has come a long way. However, so much can be done. We see amazing developments in other areas such as Ordby, Wigston, that's not in the city, and other, none highly Asian populated areas, but hardly advanced developments in Spinney Hill Park. Victoria Park has lights and cameras. Why isn't there in Spinney Park? So much can be done. We need to do much more. The council, in my opinion, is reactive, not proactive. That is a conversation now for another day, because we're going to close up very shortly and ask our Deputy Mayor if he's familiar with the Green Guardians.
Just remind me.
I'm going to tell you about the Green Guardians, right? And I wanted you to bring your book and pen and paper like my good friend, you can write it down for him,
okay,
right? And pass it on to him. The Green Guardians is a group that professional girls, they started an initiative to go and pick up litter on Evington Road and in Spinney Hill and in Cossington area and different areas in the city. They come out with their children, and they started with 2 girls and it's now expanded to about 20 plus.
Brilliant.
And that's what they do. So can you imagine the look on my face and the happiness when I saw them 11 o'clock on Sunday, as you did when you were driving by?
Yes.
You explained to them. What were they doing?
It was fantastic to see, folk from the community, mothers and children with their high visibility tabards on, carrying green bags and litter pickers, and they were picking up cigarette ends and picking up litter and rubbish. And it was nice to see them taking pride in their local area, making it better. And from the police's perspective, in terms of neighbour policing, I really am looking forward to partnering up with the Green Guardians, because I think it's a fantastic initiative. So well done to those involved.
So all of you, fantastic organizations, hats off to you. Appreciation from all of us, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then we are going to develop on these organizations more. I want your help to compile these 20 organizations from different communities, Turkish, from the Sikh community, from the Indian community, from the Muslim community, from all different communities. So we can get this dream team. We got to get this dream team ready.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So just a goodbye from you and yourself.
Absolutely.
So we're just closing up now,
Yeah.
and Councillor is saying just absolutely.
No, what thing is this now? This
Right.
is something we really experience very differently, having talked to yourself and share those thoughts with our listeners.